Hey, welcome to this challenge, Connect to Heart, Lead by Heart. I'm super excited that you're part of this. I'm super grateful that you're part of this. And I'm super excited to share my knowledge, to share my expertise about this topic because it's really coming from my heart. And this challenge is all about heart intelligence and the link to leadership. And I call it wholehearted, daring leadership. And leadership, I see it as a very broad aspect. It is about you being a leader in your life. Like, how do you make choices? Who are you really? Who is that authentic you? And who are you as a leader in your relationships, in your relationship with your partner or with your girlfriends, or who are you as a leader, as a mother, or who are you as a woman in this world? And maybe you're also a leader in your organization, you're leading a team, or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you are leading your own company, or maybe even people that you have in your own company, or maybe you are a leader in your community. So yeah, we take it as in the broadest form. Who are you as a leader in your personal life and in your professional life? And then we talk about heart intelligence today. So heart intelligence, it's really that higher awareness. It's like a flow of understanding. It is connecting to your authentic power, connecting to your core. And what's interesting here is that research has been done with children, and when you ask children, who are you, they will point at their hearts. So maybe you can try it out as well with your own child or children, or maybe you have children close in your environment. Ask them, who are you? So our hearts are very important because there are about 40,000 neural cells in our hearts, and those cells send information to the brain all the time, and our brain uses this information to make choices, and lots of those choices are in a very subconscious way. And our state has a big influence on our heart and what happens in our hearts and how that information or what kind of information will be sent to the brain. So some of us are in a state of fear, or in a state of sadness, or in a state of frustration, or in a state of competition, or in a state of jealousy very often. Or maybe you experience feelings of guilt or feelings of shame. A lot of women that I talk to, they experience guilt or shame. They feel guilty towards maybe their children, they feel guilty maybe towards their partner, maybe they feel guilty towards their team, their team members, maybe they feel guilty towards themselves. So think about this as well. Where do you feel guilt about? Where do you feel guilty? Maybe to your parents. And also a lot of women feel shame, that you feel shame about things that you've done in the past, like actions, or maybe you feel shame around particular parts of your body. There's a lot of women who feel ashamed about their bodies. So if you experience those kind of feelings, it will bring you in an incoherent state. And what an incoherent state means is that your heart rhythm becomes incoherent. And that means that your heart rhythm is a very messy rhythm. And those signals will be sent up to the brain. And then the brain gets that information and it's kind of hey, what's going on? Something is wrong there. So what happens is that the brain will immediately go to this freeze, fight, or flight response. It's your survival mechanism. And then around those survival mechanisms, we have a lot of limiting beliefs, and I also like to call them saboteurs. Like saboteurs, like I'm not good enough, I have to be better, my body is not beautiful enough, I have to train more, I have to exercise more, I have to go on a diet. All those kind of limiting beliefs that we have, and our brain, or like especially like this part, like the back part, your limbic brain is used. And you will live in like a state of survival, and you radiate like a very, very low frequency through the magnetic field of your heart. So that's what happens when you are in an incoherent state, when you are experiencing feelings like guilt, shame, fear, frustration, anger, all those kind of feelings. Then, on the other hand, when you experience feelings of appreciation, of gratitude, of joy, maybe even bliss, compassion, care, love, it will make sure that your heart rhythm becomes coherent. And that means that your heart rhythm has a very coherent, smooth rhythm. Then that information will be sent to the brain. And the brain is like, well, everything is all right, everything is smooth. And then the brain starts functioning in its higher optimal way. It actually uses its higher brain functions. And this is where you become creative. This is where you have those insights. This is where you have those aha moments. This is also where you're very sensitive to the information that people send around you. You're very sensitive to even more sources of information, because your own frequency is really high. You're vibrating on a very high frequency level that's all like radiated through your heart's magnetic field. So this is also where you can tap into your intuitive power, your intuitive knowledge. So that's why it's so important to get into a coherent state, especially being a leader, because you want to use that higher brain functioning. You want to be creative, you want to be innovative, and you also want to open up to all those different sources of information. So for today, the most important part is that heart intelligence is a very, very important source of wisdom, because you open up to different kind of sources of information, you open up to your intuition, and you start using your higher brain functions. Tomorrow, it's all about connecting to your heart. So how do you really connect to your heart's intelligence? So in your email, you will find some assignments and inquiries, and I'll wish you fun and good luck with that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.